What's good, everybody? It's your boy Gerald Moore Jr. I just wanted to come to you guys and give you another live video. We're gonna do uh kind of like a review live, but it's been a few days, so I wanted to come on and just show y'all some love. I appreciate all the subscriptions. I appreciate everybody that's been commenting, following us on Instagram, YouTube, and all the different spaces. Please continue to like, comment, share, subscribe, and engage with the content. It really helps me out. Lets me know that I'm doing something worth my time and while. It is a very interactive thing for me to do as well. So I appreciate the support. If you don't like it, you don't like it. I don't really mind, but I do appreciate those that have been supporting and letting me know their thoughts on what I've been sharing. Before I get started, I'm going to do a quick disclaimer video just to set the mood for today. Oh, just so y'all can read that. I know people feel a little slow. We're going to read it out though. This video is for educational purposes only. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips. The balance in favor of fair use. Again, this for educational, entertainment, and informational purposes only. Um, I am speaking from personal experience or opinions. And so, with that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Ohio Cannabis Report. Make sure if you want to come into the show, I will put on, I'm going to put in the chat the link. I do like live callers, so if you want to come in and share your thoughts, share your opinions. I see we already got a comment in here. Overpriced garbage, and it is, and we need to be talking about it, right? I think as patients, as consumers, cultivators, folks that voted for cannabis legalization, we want good quality product, and so what the program is putting out is not quality, and we should be engaging in that, and so we should be letting them know. Give me 1 second here as I. So obviously, we've had the Ohio cannabis program for about 6 years now. We've had legalization for medical for 6 years, and then we've had the legal adult use recreational program, which essentially just took the same medical products and then just made them available to adult recreational customers. The only real difference is medical patients get a bit of a discount on those products. But again, you still have to pay for your medical card. Some doctors are still charging, I think, upwards of $200. I just got my med card renewed. My doctor could only do it for 6 months when it's usually been done for a year. So that was pretty interesting. I didn't pay $200 for my med card either, though. So I got my med card for the free. So shout out to Dr. Bridget Williams. Again, I am different. We have a partnership. We've collaborated. I'm also an author, published author in Courage and Cannabis, which is by Dr. Bridget. So we have a personal relationship. She's been my doctor for a few years now. So shout out to Dr. Bridget for always looking out. So I do have a medical card, and I have been a part of the medical recreational program because as a researcher, as a reporter, as somebody who has started to follow this cannabis industry since its inception, how you have to be involved to see how the operations of these systems are working, especially to give the news and report it to the people. So again, I see somebody has said overpriced garbage. Indeed. And one of my biggest criticisms of the industry is one, you've had that it was illegal. So we couldn't even have it, legally. I was in Athens. I came to Ohio through Athens, Ohio, fell in love with weed, Meigs County Gold. You know how that goes. And so, again, my perceptions of Ohio, of weed, really was grown and matured in Ohio, in Athens. Smoked a little bit in high school. But again, my adult age of getting involved politically or using my voice as an advocate or speaking up about it really just started when we got legalization, because again, I'm a former Division I All-American athlete, former NFL free agent. And if you guys follow sports and football, you know athletes are pretty media trained. Also, we get heavily scrutinized for pretty much anything and everything we do. But also, you're drug tested, and cannabis has been illegal. And so, a lot of times, a lot of athletes consume cannabis, but they can't publicly say they consume it because it is against the league that they're playing in, whether that's the NCAA, MLB, or NFL, NBA. Now, obviously, when legalization has taken over, a lot of these institutions, organizations, sporting leagues are reducing the penalty for cannabis, right? So NCAA, they're not testing as much for it. The penalties aren't as high. In NFL, they're not testing as much. MLB is actually partnered with CBD, Charlotte's Web. NBA, I don't think is testing as much anymore either. So you've had the likes of like Kevin Durant coming out publicly, being on public interviews talking about he's high. But again, when I was playing back in 2008 to 2013, my college football to NFL years, no. You know what I mean? Like people knew you smoked, like, guys would come in smelling like weed. We were getting drug tested, but you couldn't just be out and proud about it. And a lot of athletes are still in that predicament because still culturally, right, for brand deals and marketing purposes, a lot of people still have the stigma around cannabis. And so that's again why I started my journey as being more forward facing and sharing my personal testimony and story about cannabis. Because again, when you're an athlete, when you're in some of these spaces, you can't really share a lot of things publicly that maybe near and dear to your heart, which cannabis is something that's very near and dear to me. It's helped me navigate PTSD. It's helped me navigate injury, the stress, the anxiety of sports, performance, college, just the world and things that we deal with. So for me, cannabis has been special. And then I have a degree in healthcare administration. And nowhere in my degree did we talk about cannabis. Did we talk about the endocannabinoid system? Did we talk about terpenes, the healing aspects of that? So through my football journey, I was basically self-diagnosing myself in terms of medicating myself with cannabis, other than the opioids that we often received. And so I realized, wow, the weed works way better for me than the pills, than drinking a bunch of alcohol to deal with my pain or my emotions. And so that's kind of where my love for the plant really stems from. I was never a grower. I was never a seller of weed. You know what I mean? That's why I'm also very more comfortable talking about it publicly than probably a lot of people. I understand because people are growing it, people are selling it, whatever. Which again, I'm from the trenches. I'm from the streets. I know what's going on. So I am never out here trying to trip people up, trying to get people to tell them themselves. I grew my first batch of homegrown that I'm curing right now. So I'm just trying to do my part. But again, as a former pro athlete, as somebody that plays sports at a high level, there are reasons why we don't hear from professionals, we don't hear from celebrities, because a lot of them are caught up in contracts and deals, just like a lot of average people that are working, right? The average person doesn't necessarily want to come out publicly and talk about cannabis consumption. So that's why I got my med card. Getting my med card gave me a license to then publicly begin speaking without having to worry about the outside noise of, oh, he's a pothead, he's a stoner. Like, no, I have a medical card. I have a recommendation from a medical doctor who's licensed. And she wasn't just licensed in weed, right? She's a licensed health coach. She's an actual PhD and an actual doctor. Like, I don't think she has a PhD, but medical background. And so, again, those things typically carry weight in the media sphere, in people's world. And so that's why I got my med card. And that's why I began publicly speaking. That's why I started Ohio Cannabis Report. because I knew there was a lot of people out there like myself consuming cannabis, but didn't necessarily have a platform to talk about it or share their perspective. But I also wanted to cover the industry. I also wanted to be involved in the industry, but I just also didn't have millions of dollars to pour into a cultivator, a dispensary, a processing lab, or a what's the other thing? A testing lab. I didn't want to reach out to friends and try to, fundraise hundreds of thousands of dollars for a license to not even win. Right. So when you look at Ohio's cannabis industry, it's a limited license, very expensive, highly regulated. And so it's almost like they don't want the industry to succeed in a way, even though they've made over $3 billion or they've sold over $3 billion worth of product. So I really began this page to really shine a light on some of these things. So the last few years, I've been kind of hesitant because my family has been going through our own grief and life issues. So to protect my family, and I haven't shared a lot. But since I've seen a lot of people aren't still not sharing, outside of Reddit and shit, I figured I might as well go back into actually covering and doing like some test tasting and doing some reviews publicly of these products, right? Because these companies are making a lot of money and they're not putting that money back into the community. They're not putting that money back into making better quality product. They're not putting that money back into going against the legislators to open up the industry so we can actually smell the product, see the product before we buy it, right? Have more events around cannabis. We still don't have lounges. We still don't have delivery. So there's still a lot of issues that can be ironed out in Ohio's cannabis industry. We still don't have craft grow opportunities where craft growers can sell their products to dispensaries and the dispensaries can sell it. We still don't have tier 3 licenses, so smaller growers, craft growers can grow their own bud. So those are things that are still in the law that haven't been uh, acted on, right? Like we still haven't received social justice, social equity funds through the community fund. So where are those resources? 36% are supposed to go to local communities with dispensaries. So again, cannabis for me is and voting for the law and participating in the actual economic and industry side of it is much more than just the product. It's like the byproduct of all those things, right? The money is supposed to go back into the community for roads, addiction services, education, community resources, and we're not seeing that happen from the state level, right? So again, I'm spending money at the dispensary because again, that money is going into a fund, and that fund is supposed to disperse back into the community, right? That's how our taxes is supposed to work. And that's why so many people voted for issue 2. They voted for it because they knew social equity was something they wanted. Also, social equity, we've been having the discussion about DEI, social equity. It's not just for Black people, right? Social equity is for poor people, right? So if you're poor, if you come from working class environment and your family was impacted by the war on drugs in any way, you are entitled to that money, right? And so I think a lot of people get caught up the marketing campaigns around DEI, around social equity. Being in Ohio, like we know, like you can be in Linden and see Black people, brown people, white people, yellow people living. You could be in Hilltop. You could be in Franklinton. You could be in Springfield, Dayton. A lot of these places, Canton, Akron. The poverty here, it doesn't discriminate. So, and a lot of these people have been caught up in drug charges. You know what I mean? So, or addicted to some type of pain pills or something like that. So again, that's where I want my cannabis money and my tax money to go. Again, I always support the homies. So if there's local growers, caregivers, if you're in the Columbus region and you want to let's work. I'm always willing to donate and give credit where credit's due. I love the best flower, but again, I also want people to be aware and understand that this game is so diverse, right? Like, yeah, you on the gray, the black, the legacy market, and there's this market, the white collar market. Why are we so afraid to call out the suits and ties? You know what I mean? Like those people should be on Front Street. If you're going to be the face of the industry, we need to know who you are. We need to know who your investors are. We need to know what type of product you're growing, what you're growing your product in. Are you remediating your product? But the only way that can happen is if the citizens and the people hold those people accountable. It's the same thing for the government. You can say, well, I elected you to do X, Y, and Z, but they don't have to do that if you don't hold them to the fire. You know what I mean? And that's how these politicians have continuously been able to get away with things, right? Um, the business elite pander to them, fill their pockets. As long as you're working on the behalf of me, I don't really care about my customers. You know what I mean? They're gonna keep coming back because we're giving them terrible product, but they're so fucked up, they're gonna just take it because they got it. And that's enough for us, right? And then we'll try to deal with the legacy growers, the legacy market through policy, through law, right? And so that's what they're trying to do, right? All these bills they keep trying to introduce, these sub bills, all they're trying to do is make it so that one, they want to limit home grow, right? So they want to take it from 12 plants to 6 plants, because if you have 12 plants, that means you can grow more, right? And then I think the limit before you can even get prosecuted is like 23 or something, 22 or 23. Don't quote me on that. But of course, you got real growers out here. So 12 plants, you know what I mean? Somebody got that shit on rotation. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Drying. They got homies that's willing to come help them out. So yeah, they're gonna do work. Which again, they deserve a real shot in the industry. And so again, that's what I'm all for. I'm all for independence. I'm all for the small growers. But everybody has to get on board, right? Everybody has to be a part of the whole program, right? It's not cool enough to just be doing events, but you're not inviting nobody that's a part of the social justice, social equity movement to your event. Like every cannabis event should have civics cannabis, should have some type of social justice component to their event, so that that group can hand out pamphlets, information, can get donations, because again, it's not easy to be an independent advocate or an independent media channel like myself, right? Like everything I'm doing is independent. You know what I mean? Like it's my money going into this. Um, so it's my money going to buy the weed, to test it out, to review it, or to share my thoughts and opinions on it, right? And so I think a lot of people, either put up or shut up, right? Like Reddit's one thing. I get it. A lot of people be on Reddit. A lot of people be behind the scenes. I put my face to shit. You know what I mean? I don't hide behind the bullshit. I'm not always right. I have my perspective. I have my lived experience. That's all I can go on. That's why I have people on the platform to share their experience. So again, I think it's important for everybody to, crawl out from under the rock, share their experiences, and however you share it. Shout out to my guy Rodney. I've been seeing Rodney been doing a lot of work, using his privilege. You know what I mean? Using his will to go out, interview people, get involved in the streets, talk his shit. Which everybody has that right to do it. Like now we all have these supercomputers in our hands. Like, what are we doing with them? You know what I mean? You have a 4K camera and you just letting it sit there. Like anybody, go create a documentary. You know what I mean? Go interview your local neighbors. Go interview your local politicians and put that shit on YouTube. Put it on Instagram. Put it on Facebook. You have to use the tools. You can't complain, oh, woe is me. It's not how it works. You got to use the tools that you're given. You know what I mean? Like now we can all live stream. I'm live streaming from the crib. You know what I mean? Like obviously everybody don't have strong Wi-Fi, stuff like that. But if you have the power, the tools, the means, create your own shit. A lot of people, so nobody put me on their platform. Guess what? YouTube is a platform. Create your own shit. Instagram, Facebook, a platform. Create your own shit. Stop waiting for somebody to come and invite you to build something that you want. If nobody's building what you want, you build it. SB 56 made 13 plants a felony, if I'm not mistaken. Those guys got to reach out to get in those spaces. An event isn't easy. For sure. I mean, and I'm not saying none of this is easy, but the problem is a lot of people, I think too big, right? Start small, right? Like my first events that I did were small. They were online, virtual. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of people try to overdo it. You know what I mean? Like do something small, right? Like you don't have to have all the means, you don't have to have all the resources to get started, right? Get started where you are, even if it's 2 people, 4 people, 5 people. Like I'm used to being in big ass events, right? Being an athlete, being married to a news anchor. Like I'm always around. Every event is super large, super corporate. incentivized, right? But when you're grassroots, you have to be comfortable being small. You have to be comfortable not having every fucking thing together, not having all your I's dotted, all your T's crossed. So many people, oh, it got to be perfect. Oh, I'm embarrassed if it's like, no, you know. But I understand the events are not easy. There's a lot of logistics, especially what you're dealing with when you're dealing with cannabis. That's why I give props to everybody there. But folks, again, people don't know about the events. I mean, there's a lot of different, reasons why. I'm not casting blame or judgment on anybody in specifically. It's just like I can't go to every event. Like, I'm a family man. I got kids. I got a wife. Like, I don't want to be at every event. I don't want to be at every smoke session. I don't want to smoke with everybody. But again, there are ways to engage with organizations that are doing the work. And so I think everybody has to have their own little part in play in it. Organizations have to do better figuring out what independent event promoters or influencers are a part of what. So there's a lot of nonprofits that are doing things that aren't necessarily engaged with the gray or legacy market culture. So there's just a lot of gray spaces, but that's the beautiful thing about cannabis is that it can really connect a lot of different industries and communities. But that's what has to happen. You know what I mean? But that's also why I use social media, because again, it allows me to reach people in all different parts of the state, the country, the world. When I'm right here, I can't connect with everybody all the time. And through social or through COVID, that's kind of what I did. So I'm gonna do a little review, man, because I bought a little bit of flour the other day. I haven't bought flour from the Ohio program, and I don't know how long. If I do buy anything from there, usually it's some type of concentrate or some type of topical. So I bought some Grow Ohio Butterfly Effect. I guess it's their premium brand, because I was surprised that it was in a glass, because they haven't been doing. They've moved. A lot of companies have moved away from the glass. It's been more plastic. I purchased some Farkas Farms, and so I was surprised that it actually was in a glass jar. It's Notorious GMO times GMO TK Skunk, limonene, carafilene, myrcene. So I'm more of an indica. Smells decent. It's pretty dry. Buds were decent size, but I ain't really like the way it smoked or broke down. Let's see. Look. Let's see. Tested by North Coast Testing Labs. That seems to be like one of the most popular ones. Total THC 28.77, Delta 9 THC 0.36, Delta 9 THCA 32.4, low CBD, low CBDA. Let's see, harvested 6/26/25, expiration 6/26 2026, tested 7/9 or 7/29/2025, packaged on 9/30/2025. So I bought it yesterday, so that's 2 months it's been on the shelves. 2 months. Man, I got some Farkas Farms, some lemon cookie. This one, let's see, 29.5 total THC, Delta 9 THC 0.26, Delta 9 THCA 33.3, total CBD 0.07, CBDA 0.08, terpenes, carafilene, myrcene, limonene, linen law, humulene. Harvested date 9/29/2025. Final test date 10/24/2025. Package date 11/3/2025. Expiration 9/29/2026. So I don't buy a bunch of product, like I said, but I think it's important because the dispensaries aren't doing it, the cultivators aren't doing it, the bud tenders aren't doing it. Like, yo, we should be having fucking strain reviews all day about this shit. crushing they shit publicly, because it's like, if you selling booty weed and you still making money, like, we know how the weed industry. Why you niggas ain't like out motherfuckers? Oh, that nigga weed. He's selling spray packs. Now this bud don't look half bad, but it's not fresh. It's not the freshest product. You know what I mean? And you don't know what they doing to this shit for real. You know what I mean? They're very secretive about what they're doing to their products, and there's a lack of transparency. Especially you think about a medical program. If I'm a medical patient, I should be able to know everything about the product, right? As a healthcare worker, somebody that works in administration, business, marketing, advertising, workforce development, I need to know. We need to know, and folks got to keep you engaged. 1 second. Well, I see for sure. Packs always dry around here. Shaking my head. They don't care about the plant quality over quantity. Exactly. And again, they're all about numbers, right? Pushing product out, because again, that's what capitalism and corporate America is all about. How much product can we put on the shelves, put out into the streets, get it out, get it on the books, right? Get that money, get that revenue coming in. We don't necessarily care about the quality. But this is also why I'm saying, us as citizens, us as patients, us as consumers of cannabis, whether you're buying from the industry or not, you should care that they're propping up this industry and putting out bullshit, while also still trying to criminalize the people that are trying to actively grow healthy, organic, quality bud, right? That's the problem, right? Good versus evil, right? Right, the people that have been doing it versus the people who see the money and say, oh, I had $1 million in a fund, I had 10 million in a fund over here, and my buddies, he worked for a venture capital firm, and they want to get some money out there, so I got 20 million to put up against this business, which, yeah, on paper it looked like a good business, but it's also like, you have to put soul into this shit. It can't just be one of them things that we just trying to get it out, right? Because they treating a lot of the employees that I know, I hear is high turnover. They not paying enough, and it's backbreaking work, right? And then the people that are really running the industry don't care about the culture. They don't care about the plant. They're in it for the money. They're in it for the bag. They're not in it for the holistic cultivation and just good, right? You can tell, because if they were, they would be putting on way more community events. They would be ensuring that 36% of community funds goes out into the community, right? They would be doing way more, and they're not. Um, so that's just my few cents on it. But again, yeah, the weed be dry. Y'all seen the breakdown. And that was just 2 brands. Obviously, you can't speak for everybody, but this is supposed to be a quality premium brand. I don't know Farkas Farms, but people got to speak, man. Like, people got to use their voices, use their leverage to speak up. Let's see. Obviously, we just also had an election here in around the country. So I hear there was some blue wins. Ohio's been red, so we'll see. I'm in Columbus. It's about time for a new mayor. That's for sure. Throw up on stream on you. Also, make sure y'all show love to App Girls Cannabis. AppGirlsCannabis.com for all your App Girl cannabis products. Cheers. that black cherry, 50 milligram. Refreshing. But yeah, it's interesting, you know what I mean? And I think a lot of people obviously are busy working, trying to live a life. So the political side of stuff kind of catches on late. But people have to understand politics is every day. You know, politics isn't something that goes away. Uh, even when you have a politician that you like. All right, I'm gonna look at the Ohio Capitol Journal real quick, see if they got anything. Ohio Capitol Journal reporter Marty Skladden featured in new national podcast. Here are airports hit by FAA pullbacks. Excuse me. All 50 states will vie for funds for $50 billion in rural health transformation program. Trump administration ordered to pay full $9 billion in November SNAP benefits amid shutdown. Supreme Court okays the now Trump's passport policy that targets trans people. U.S. Senate fails to pass war powers resolution blocking Trump attacks on Venezuela. Voters will be ready for change. Ohio Democratic Party sets sights on winning 2026 elections. Economists say nuclear power might lower Ohio's energy costs. Let's see. Iron Mike Tyson goes around with PA lawmakers in support of safe and legal cannabis. Let's see if they have any other. I spelled that right, did I? Ohio bill that would add regulations intoxicating hemp products leads to a conference committee. The Ohio Senate on Wednesday voted unanimously not to concur with House changes to bill that would add regulations to intoxicating hemp products and alter the state's marijuana laws. The Ohio House passed Ohio Senate Bill 56 last week with the bipartisan vote. The Senate originally passed the bill in February, but the House made major changes, most notably adding intoxicating hemp regulations. There's so much in this bill that has changed from what we passed here. A lot of it's not for the better, said Senator Bill DeMore, Columbus. The bill will now go to conference committee, a temporary group of Ohio House and Senate lawmakers that come together to work out differences between versions of the bill. State Senator Steve Huffman, Republican from Tip City, introduced Ohio Senate Bill 56 in January. I think it's abundantly clear we need a regulatory structure around hemp and intoxicating hemp products, said Ohio Senate President Rob McCauley, Republican from Napoleon. We have some issues to work out, but I'm confident we can work those issues out. In 2018 Farm Bill, the 2018 Farm Bill says hemp can be grown legally if it contains less than 0.3% THC. As SB 56 is currently written, only a licensed hemp dispensary would be able to sell intoxicating hemp products to adults 21 and older. The dispensaries would be required to meet standards for testing, advertising, and packaging. A 10% tax would be added to intoxicating hemp sales. The bill would limit the number of active hemp dispensaries to 400. The bill would allow certain hemp dispensaries to be grandfathered in if they sold intoxicating hemp products on or before August 30th, and hemp product sales surpass 80% of their total sales for 2024, or the 12 months before the bill takes effect. Ohio Senator Shane Wilkins, Republican for Hillsborough, said the bill fails to close the loophole for synthetic THC. The bill would also allow for enormous amounts of hemp dispensaries to be placed around the states with no restrictions on how close they could be to marijuana dispensaries, he said. Additionally, there would be grandfathering of those currently selling these unregulated, untested products. THC infused beverages are also included in the bill. A bar or restaurant would be able to sell 5 milligrams THC infused beverages for patrons to drink on site, while a store would be able to sell 10 milligram THC infused beverages for carryout. There are several changes to the marijuana law, as well as drinkable hemp beverages that I believe need more vetting, Wilkins said. On the marijuana side, the bill would reduce the THC levels in adult use marijuana extracts from a maximum of 90% down to a maximum of 70% cap THC levels in adult use flower to 35% limit the number of active marijuana dispensaries and prohibit smoking in most public places. Ohioans passed a citizens initiated law to legalize recreational marijuana in 2023 with 57% of the vote, and sales started in August 2024. Ohio recreational marijuana sales topped $702.5 million in the first year. Ohio lawmakers can change the law since it passed as a citizens initiative, not a constitutional amendment. This is something that Ohioans really need to understand, and that's why we're having a lot of trouble right now. The bill would give 36% of adult use marijuana sales revenue to municipalities and townships that have recreational marijuana dispensaries, and people would also be able to apply for expungements for low-level marijuana convictions. Ohio Governor Mike DeWine announced earlier this month a 90-day executive order that bans the sale of intoxicating hemp products that started on October 14th, but a Franklin County Court of Common Judge has placed a temporary restraining order on DeWine's ban until December 2nd. Quote, the people of Ohio want us to do something about these products, end quote, DeMorris said. The governor tried to do something and was struck because he didn't do it the proper way. It is up to us to make sure now that we can do something to end these things to get out of the hands of kids. Senate Minority Leader Nikki Antonio, Democrat from Lakewood, said she's welcomes conference committee. We feel a sense of urgency as well, she said. The other things we're aware of, it gets this right while there's pause in the governor's ban to get it done. So yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Obviously, it's a lot going on. Um, let me know in the comments. All right, everybody. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. I appreciate everybody that tapped in the comments. Be sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel, follow us on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. If you have any questions, if you want to come on the show, don't be afraid to write me an email or direct message me. The email's at the bottom of the screen, ohiocannabisreport@gmail.com. And that's all we got for you today. Peace, love, and blessings. We out. OH.